Potato. How's your mom? Are you in the best shape of your life? She laughed. You know how you are when you go to the dentist. What? That I bite a piece of the furniture. No, Tom, that I laugh. She grinned, and I knew from that moment on we were going to have an absolute blast. The dentist had been so busy that I was given the chair all to myself. Even after some of the people with long waiting lists left, Tom's time was nearly up and he'd started to get impatient. But before he could get in too big a hurry, Dr. Odom came over and told me that this was my lucky day. I'd been sitting there for over an hour and there were only 3 people in the whole waiting room. Is there a problem? I asked the receptionist. Nothing you need to worry about. Then why is everyone's time up but mine? Dr. Odom said it was just a matter of time. Oh, we'll give him a bit of time before he can see you. No rush. I sat and waited and it was no use. Tom was ready to start screaming. He began shouting questions to the receptionist. Are you serious? He asked. Am I being kept waiting here on purpose? The receptionist gave him a sweet smile and ignored him. All right, he said. So what am I being kept waiting for? What is it? I've been here for an hour. What is it? I know it's been an hour, I said. But he's been really busy, so I'm sure he'll be out any moment now. He said you were one of his lucky patients. Lucky, my ass. I'm not sitting in here waiting for this dentist to come on in for his lunch break. Oh, I'm sure he's going to get here any moment now. He better. Tom had picked up the phone and he started dialing, his finger on the receiver, waiting for an answer. I'm going to find him, Tom, I said, getting up from my chair. I don't care if I go crazy. He gave me his most evil glare, and I knew that it was the face he used to keep me in line. He was the man of the house, and that was for sure. I walked up to him. Listen, I said. He's out there now, so just be patient. He'll be here soon. He better. I took Tom's hand and we waited. Tom was in the front row of the chairs. My ass. I wanted to be in front. In the end, it was no use. Then all of a sudden, there he was. My dentist. And it was Dr. Odom, who had come and taken my sweet time. Tom, dear, what can I do for you? He asked. Nothing. Tom, I whispered, because I couldn't say it loud. I have to pee. Dr. Odom looked up and smiled. There is nothing more important than the health of your gums, dear. In the interest of dental hygiene, let's look at them. The hell with it, Tom said, getting up and going into the front room. He left me to wait on my own. Dr. Odom sat back and smiled at me. Can I get you something, sugar? I smiled at him. I don't know why, but I felt funny being in the dentist's chair. Maybe it was because it was for a few minutes, instead of the whole day. Maybe it was because he looked like he really knew what he was doing. What are you smiling about? Tom came back and looked in the chair. Is he paying you a compliment, Mrs. Jackson? I couldn't speak. I think he wants me to tell him about the tooth fairy. I'm sure that's the reason he's going to pull your teeth out before lunch. No. That's not the reason he's going to pull my teeth out. Tom didn't say anything. He just grinned. Hey, sugar, can I have some water? Dr. Odom asked. Yeah, sure. I got up from the chair and went into the room. Here you go. I came back and put the water on the table, and then I opened the door. Tom was standing there. Thanks, sugar. No problem. I picked up the water, drank half of it, and handed the rest of it to Tom. It's like a dream, Tom. Well, I hope it lasts a whole lot longer. This is the longest I've ever waited for a dentist. Are you nervous about the drill? It'll be all over your face. Yes. I've had the drill. It'll probably be my last visit. I'm sure it won't. Why, I was sitting there and all of a sudden, he looked up and smiled at me, and I said to myself, Dr. Odom is going to be a friend of mine for a long time. Isn't it nice, Tom? He smiled and touched my hand. Yeah, I know it is. You and him are about the 2 happiest people in this world. The door to the room opened and there was Dr. Odom. I'm going to pull your teeth out, sugar. And when I say so, I mean it. Don't argue with me, because you'll be sorry. I promise. Okay, I'm happy to be here, and I'm sorry, but it'll only be for a few minutes. Please don't be rough. Oh, but I will. And I'm rough. If you're ever in a hurry, I know where I can be contacted. That's a lie. I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't think you'd take a chance like that, so I won't say it again. Don't make a mistake. Let me get up from the chair. I can take a bite out of the back of your chair if you pull my teeth out. It will be a small, sweet revenge. I know you can get up. I've seen it many times. When you have to go to the bathroom, you can get up. I can sit down. No. I'm afraid not. I'm a little concerned about your gums. I'll sit. I'll sit. Just be gentle, okay? Okay. Be happy, Mrs. Jackson. You already told me that. All the time. You do look happy. But you can look happy and be nervous. I do that sometimes, too. Oh, okay. It won't be the first time I'm nervous, I guess. I hope not. I hope you're nervous all the time, but don't tell me you are. I've been nervous before, but I hope I don't look nervous this time. I don't think that will happen. There are no looks, Tom. Don't worry. Just take my hand, Mrs. Jackson, and don't flinch. I won't flinch. I promise. I took his hand, put my foot in the chair, and looked up at Dr. Odom. He was smiling at me. I smiled back. It was nice. He seemed so sure. So strong. So confident. Tom came over and I gave him his cue. He stood up straight and looked straight ahead. You look fine, Dr. Odom said. Just fine. Tom smiled. I'm fine. Are we ready? Oh, yes. I'm ready. Let me give you a shot of something. It will make you feel good, sweet, and relaxed. It's just like being in a drugstore, sugar. We're going to turn on the machine, and it's going to do some real damage. Don't worry, it will hurt a little, but you'll feel better. I smiled at him. This is going to be great. You bet it is. You'll feel good, sweet, and relaxed. We got into the machine. It was cold. I didn't want it to be. It was kind of like what happened to the frog in the hot water. Then it got really hot. It was a little bit like that. I wanted it to be a little bit more of a hot water. Then it felt like I was falling into a dream. I saw it all through a haze, but I felt nothing. I saw people crying and yelling. I was on the floor of the school, and the children were screaming. I didn't know why. I felt nothing. I saw the teachers trying to get through to the children. But they couldn't. I was so confused. I wanted to help them. I wanted to go to them. But I couldn't move. I heard a terrible screaming sound. I opened my eyes and looked down at my body. I was lying on the floor in the school, and the children were standing over me, screaming. I could hear them. I wanted to get up and help them, but I couldn't. My body was tied down with ropes. I tried to speak, but it was like I didn't have a mouth. I knew I was in trouble, and I knew that the children had seen it. But it didn't matter. I was dead. That's when the darkness and cold came back, and I saw a bright light above me, and I thought that it was God. I couldn't be sure. Then I heard a sound, and I thought it was God again. But I wasn't sure. Then the light and the sound went away, and the children were screaming and crying, and I could feel everything. I felt my body, and I knew that I was dead. Then I heard another sound, and I thought it was God. And it wasn't really God. I could tell it wasn't God. The sound grew louder and louder. And I thought it was God. But it wasn't really God. I knew that it was God, and I knew that it wasn't God. I knew that it was me. Then I could feel someone. I heard him. He was trying to scream, but I couldn't. I saw him. It was Tom. Tom was screaming. He was screaming for me, but I couldn't hear him. I felt his hands. He was screaming, but he couldn't say the words. And I woke up. I was sweating. I opened my eyes, and I was standing at the window looking out. Tom was standing next to me. He was smiling. I was worried about you, he said. I guess we should be, too. That's really quite a dream you were having. It wasn't a dream. You woke me up. What did you dream about, sugar? That's something I can't remember. I was tied up with ropes. Then I heard God screaming, but I didn't believe that it was God. And then I was so confused. I wasn't sure that it was God, but I could feel my body. I was dead. And then I felt someone, and it was Tom. He was trying to scream, but he couldn't say the words. I heard a sound. I thought it was God, and it wasn't. It was me. The sound grew louder and louder, and I was scared. Then I saw a bright light, and it wasn't God. It was me. What happened? I didn't know. I saw the children screaming. I opened my eyes, and I saw that I was tied down on the floor of the school. I couldn't move. I tried to get up. I couldn't. The children were watching me. And then I heard a sound. And I knew it was me. It grew louder and louder. It was me. I thought it was God, but I knew that it wasn't God. I thought it was me. I could feel my body. And then I thought it was Tom. Tom was screaming for me, but I couldn't hear him. I could feel his hands. He was screaming for me, but he couldn't say the words. It was me. And then I heard a sound. It was God. But it wasn't God. It was me. I could tell it wasn't God. Then I heard another sound. It was me. It was me. The sound grew louder and louder. And I thought it was God. But it wasn't God. It was me. Then I saw a bright light. It was me. It was me. Then I saw a bright light. It was me. Then I saw a bright light. It was me. It was me. Then I saw a bright light. It was me. It was me. Then I saw a bright light. It was me. It was me. Then I saw a bright light. It was me. 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 It was me.